I was born quite a while ago, back in the 1970s. Things were different back then. We used to have black and white television. I remember it. In Britain, we used to have three channels on television rather than the hundreds we have now. And back in the 1970s, if you used to have a computer at home, you were some kind of mad scientist or hobbyist or something like that. Very futuristic. When I was a child, I used to go for walks with my father around the local lakes, and we used to eat a lot of sweets. I used to eat a lot of sweets as a child. We would have sweets most days, probably. At least that's how I remember it. Sometimes memory can play tricks on us. So I say that I used to do these things, that I would do these things. I used to eat sweets. We would have sweets every day. These are things that were common and were normal in the past and were true in the past and are not true now. So I used to have sweets in the past. I don't have sweets now. I would walk with my father around the lakes. I would walk with him, but I don't do that now. Okay. It's not true now. It was true in the past. We can use used to or didn't used to. So I didn't used to run every day when I was a child. I used to play games more. I used to do less sport. I didn't used to do much sport when I was a child. We can use used to, USED, space TO, used to, or would, 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 to talk about past habits, repeated actions in the past that are not true now, or things that are true now and habitual now and were not true in the past. So I didn't used to, or I didn't used to, or even we wouldn't, but that is less common. Okay, so these things were true in the past and are not true now. The difference between used to and would when talking about the past is that we can use would to talk about habitual events, so events that were repeated, but we can't use would to talk about situations. A concrete example will help. I used to live in England, and I don't live in England now. I used to walk with my father in the countryside. I don't do it now. I can say I would walk with my father in the countryside, or I used to walk with my father in the countryside, but I can't say I would live in England. Okay. I used to live in England, but I would live in England is wrong. I would live in England is not talking about the past, and in fact, it's only we would only use it as a phrase when we're talking about preferences or about possibilities. It can be about past possibilities, but it's not. We don't use would for habitual or rather true situations in the past. Okay, so not I would live in England. I used to live in England. Okay, so what did you used to do when you were a child? Would you walk in the forest? Would you climb mountains? Or were you more of a computer games kind of person? Okay. I used to climb trees, but I didn't used to play football when I was a child.